Hello and welcome to the Breaking Free podcast. I'm your host, Nathan Francis, and today I'm very grateful and very humble to be joined by Nakula Das. Nakula Das is a pretty interesting guy. I only got onto his work through a mutual friend, Robin Reed. So if Robin's watching, hey mate, thank you for getting me in contact with Nakula. Nakula sent me an introduction bio, so it's definitely worth a read. So I'll read this out and then we'll get cracking into it. So Nakula Das is finishing Napoleon Hills Work and ushering in a new paradigm shift where sex, success, and spirituality are all intertwined. As a creator of the Become a Sexual Alchemist 6-week training program and the Powerhouse Men Leadership Development course, his school, Nakula Das Training Grounds, has trained over 2,000 plus males globally within the last 2 years. His impact and influence scared some mainstream media. This is the part where I'm really interested in delving into. Went viral during his run for office in the 2021 Canadian federal election, was named the Semen Retention Candidate. Love that. Nakula is quoted as saying, with porn and culture taking over the minds of men and the lack of interest in hard rules and religions, I'm bringing the perfect solution for the modern man to be equipped with an onslaught of sexual temptation while unleashing healthy masculinity and leadership. Nakula, thank you for joining the chat today. I'm really looking forward to delving into some issues and some porn stuff with you, your programs, what you offer to people, your run for the Canadian election, which has got my interest, and whatever else comes through. So thank you for coming on, and let's get cracking.
Thanks, man. I appreciate the opportunity, and I'm looking forward to talking about porn stuff with you too.
And semen retention. I love this topic.
Yeah. The most awkward topics that we could talk about, I'm looking forward to doing.
Yeah. Same here. So how did you start this journey? And just tell my listeners a bit about you. And yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing it as well.
Yeah, I got introduced to the concept of sex transmutation from Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich. And if you're not familiar with it, it's a famous book that talks about the laws of success. You know, what were the secrets behind success, and the most successful people in mainly the industrial age when Napoleon Hill was alive. This was written in the 1920s. And right after the Great Depression, and he clearly writes it for after the Great Depression with a mission to teach people how to create wealth in their life. What's interesting is he dedicates a whole chapter to a topic called the secrets of sex transmutation. And he links a very deep topic between our sexual nature and drive and how inherent it is in who we are, that it literally makes up our psychological nature at a very deep level. And men who learn to transmute their sexual energy, meaning they are not controlled by their sexual energy, and they take that energy and they put it to other use, building a business in his case, or accumulating riches, then you can use this energy as a drive, as a motivation. And the most practical way to explain this is, you know, any guy knows that you could be dead tired and, you know, you get a little ding on your phone, or, you know, she gives you a little butt wiggle, and all of a sudden you're like, I got energy. I'm good to go. Like, let's do this, you know? Right? You're driving across the highway 4 o'clock in the morning. You got to work at 7 a.m., but you're going, right?
Yeah.
So that's the type of motivation, and that's how much we are driven by sex. Mm-hmm. And so if we can kind of take that as an energy, if we can look at it as a fuel, a source of energy, our sexual nature is a tremendous source of energy and creativity and power, because our sexual qualities by nature's design is also what makes us attractive. It gives us charisma, and it gives us personality and vibrancy. It's like nature's equipping us to be attractive so we can reproduce. The whole world is based around this as its center point activity. So this is the motivation for most of our action in the world. And this is what Napoleon Hill touches upon. And he talks about how these men that became so successful, they understood this and they tapped into it, whether consciously or unconsciously. But this process of being a highly sexualized, he called it sexed man, which just simply means that they had a high sex drive. They had tons of motivation and passion, but they transmuted it. They weren't watching porn. And of course, back then there was no porn, not to the degree there is today. Right. That's why it's so much harder today, because there's just availability. There's an issue of availability, right? Or accessibility. And so they didn't have that. So they drove with that same drive that you would drive 4 o'clock in the morning down the highway because she said yes, or she said come over. And the fact that you're not going to get any sleep, you're overriding all that discomfort. That's how powerful that is. Take that and now channel it to what Napoleon Hill was talking about: riches accumulating of wealth. So that was my introduction to this concept, is Napoleon Hill. And that's why in my introduction, I say I'm finishing Napoleon Hill's work, because here's the thing. He talks about its importance. He talks about how it taps you into higher frequencies, how you vibrate at a higher level, your energy's at a higher level. It taps into your genius, your creative abilities. It nourishes you, all of these benefits. But what he doesn't do is tell you how. He never really says, now here's how you do it. So many men have read that book. It's one of the most popular books in the business development and personal development world. And many people also say, but I don't really get it. Or, yeah, I read it. But that's cool. Like, because he doesn't really tell you how. And it's interesting because Napoleon Hill gives you a how on almost everything else. How to talk to the subconscious mind, how to reprogram the brain, the use of auto-suggestion, the use of a definite chief aim. He gives you processes for everything, but he doesn't give you a process for sex transmutation, which I found interesting. And so through my own journey of watching pornography and masturbating, and then like getting into this world of transformation and peak performance and masculinity and who am I and how can I show up in this world at my best, I got fascinated by this topic, and I was relating it to my own life about this idea of, yeah, you know what, I am jerking off a lot. I am watching a bunch of porn and ejaculating a bunch, and yeah, I do feel tired afterwards, and I'm not really as motivated to go be with my wife. I just go and, to the washroom and rub one out because that's easier. It's a path of ease. We're actually like real sex, and then transmuting that is a path of growth. And so as a man, I believe as a man, and I run on this belief that it is our duty to grow. That is what we do as men. We grow and we embrace challenge as the path of growth. So a man's life is not an easy life. It's a life of growth, which is kind of like a life of discomfort on the outside or in the immediate, but an internal fulfillment and capacity that continues to expand. And so I was like, nah, I'm going to get this. I'm going to transmute my energy. I didn't even know what that meant, but I was just like, I'm not going to allow myself to be a sucker for porn and a sucker for masturbation and diminish my energy. And I knew enough from Napoleon Hill that this was important towards my energy levels, my motivation, my ability to attract, create, and be attractive and tap into solution-oriented thinking. Then I started diving down like Eastern philosophy in the yogic traditions, as well as the Taoist traditions, as well as different aspects of, for instance, like different cultures around the world from different eras. All wisdom traditions had some rules, regulations, teachings, concepts around sexuality and around the power of our sexual energy, from give it up, become a celibate monk, of like, let's say, like the Vedic tradition, the modern day Hinduism, to the Taoist tradition, which like transmute that energy, circulate it, use it for vibrancy. Its purpose is health and vibrancy. To people discovering things like sexual alchemy, and which is like goes into a bit of like kind of this taboo area of like, wow, sexual energy is actually, and this is where Napoleon Hill was going. Sexual energy has a potential far beyond just sexual expression, but fuel, motivation, growth, potential, creativity. It's all locked in here. And so when I started learning about it from the Taoists and the perspective of the Eastern holistic health, Ayurveda, they spoke about semen retention and the nutrients and the proteins and the enzymes. And they kind of gave a biological scientific approach to this more like what maybe more esoteric kind of teaching from Napoleon Hill. They looked at it very practically that this is all your best stuff is in your semen and in your sperm. And that energy is going to give its ultimate purpose is to give life to a new body. And all that energy and creative genius of growth is locked in it. And all your best proteins, all your best enzymes, it's all locked away in your semen. And the body, after about 10 to 14 days of retaining, reabsorbs that and starts to circulate it. And it stimulates your testosterone because, again, nature's basic instinct says, hey, you should be reproducing, you should be multiplying your seed. But you're not, because you're retaining. Now, the body might not know that you may be engaging in sexual activity in a different way, but it just simply knows it registers that you haven't ejaculated, which then stimulates your testosterone. I have one student, Jeremy. He went to the doctors, and he actually there's a right on my website or the registration form for my program. There is he's a video there of him talking about how he almost doubled his testosterone in 6 weeks training program by retaining. Now he's a super healthy guy as well, and so that all comes into play. But both Eastern science have said this long thousands of years ago. Modern Western universities have done also research on this, and they also back this up and say, yes, there's many studies to show the effects that by retaining our semen, or at least regulating our ejaculation, actually has a difference on our health and our mind. And then I take it to the step further of a little bit more of an energetic way of looking at life and say your energy, your very essence, your very consciousness, your very vibration is actually affected by the amount of energy you're containing within your body. The more energy within your body actually correlates to the more awareness you have, the more conscious you become. And this is where it becomes a very transformative process where men really grow up, not only do they fix sexual issues, like they stop watching porn because that's unsatisfying. They become better husbands, fathers, they become better leaders, better businessmen, because they have more energy and more awareness and more self-control. And self-control, self-mastery is ultimately the secret to success, because that's when you do the hard stuff when everyone else is doing the easy stuff. You're going to be so full of energy that you're no longer going to see it as hard. You'll be like, heck yeah, I'm going to the gym. Heck yeah, I'm waking up early. Heck yeah, I'm going to go have amazing love with my woman. And then you can practice non-ejaculatory sex, like, which is what I do, which is now you're cultivating sexual energy. You're building energy without depleting it. No porn, no masturbation, real healthy expression of sexuality. And in today's age, given to this message of porn is taking you away from that, because porn programs you to, first of all, watch sexual activity. 2, it programs you to go for the easy route. Instead of taking my woman out and having a date night and having to be an attractive man. So meaning I have to earn, because here's the thing. As a man, you have to earn your way in this world. You're not entitled to anything as a man. And once you really accept this raw truth about nature, you're gonna wake up and go, whoa, I better step up. And therefore, I better become so responsible with my energy and attention that there's no way that I'm going to give my energy and attention to anything less than what is my vision for my life. And if you're thinking, I don't know, I don't have a vision for my life. If you can't answer the question, what does your life look like 10 years from now? You don't have a vision for your life. And 97% of men, especially the younger you are, lack a vision for your life. And that's why you're watching porn. And that's why you're doing all that stuff, because you lack purpose. And this world right now is telling you that life is about pleasure. But the reality is life as a man is about growth, which means facing challenge after challenge after challenge. And here's the thing. Soon you become a monster. You're like, Give me the next challenge. Give me the next one, because I'm going to beat that one too. And I'm going to beat that one. And every time you beat that one, you're leveling up your internal capacity, and you have to unleash all your greatness. All your best qualities have to come out, because to conquer the next challenge, you have to level up. And you recognize that you get fulfillment from leveling up. And there's nothing more powerful than being able to transmute the most basic instinct that's controlling you, which is your sexual drive. Pornography is totally wiring you to be a slave to that drive, instead of making that drive your tool for growth and success.
That's awesome. It's actually so spot on. A lot of young men, like, you actually see it in society today that they lack that purpose. It's just blatantly obvious, isn't it? And it's actually it's quite sad. But once they find that purpose, you can start bringing these changes, and love it.
100%. This idea of purpose is too overlooked in today's society. It's not like somebody might be standing there telling you, you have no purpose. So your purpose is to basically pay your bills, pay a bunch of taxes, and then get drunk and watch a bunch of porn on the weekend, and maybe talk a bunch of bullshit with your friends about what you're going to accomplish and do. But you're going to do it because you're going to go home and jerk off. That's what you're going to, or your business isn't earning what it's supposed to be earning because you're not sharp of mind, because you've depleted your energy on pornography or some other bullshit. You have to get so real with yourself, and at the same time, be loving enough to yourself to say, I am going to actually nurture myself back to good health. And good health has to be looked at as physical, mental, and energetic. What's your levels like? Most people are running so low on energy, they can't accomplish. What are you going to accomplish? If you're sleeping, let's say you're sleeping 8 to 10 hours a day. All right, let's go with 8, recommended 8 hours. I think you can do less on retention and a good diet and good movement, not even working out, but walking and such. Just those 3 alone, you'll reduce sleep, because what the body needs is rest. It needs to be in a rest state, and it needs to be full of energy. So when you're full of energy and you're feeling confident, you're also confident, and being restful go hand in hand. You don't see a confident person uptight, confident, relaxed. I'm into. So you're relaxed and you're full of energy. You're confident. Sexual energy is what does that. If you're depleting all that energy, you don't feel confident. So when life presents you your growth opportunity in the form of challenge, your growth opportunity is your addiction. Conquer that shit, and you'll feel like, give me the next one. And then it might be something more subtle. It might be that negative thought. It might be that limiting belief around money. It might be that limiting belief around your relationship or your marriage, or what the impact is that you can have in this world. Maybe you have an idea, an art, a project, an idea, a business, a movement.
Wow, that's awesome.
You have to be able to tap into lots of energy to be able to execute a bigger life. And so that right now we have a very, very serious problem with men depleting themselves almost daily with pornography and masturbation.
Yeah. It's a massive issue, isn't it? Especially my age group, your age group, teenagers. Yep. Spot on, mate. Spot on.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. I'm seeing it. And you're so right, though. Like, good diet, good movement. I say health is the foundation of all life success. You can't make these changes without being healthy first. Spot on, mate. And that's mentally, physically, emotionally, and even spiritually.
100%. 100%. When it comes to sexual health, you got to be healthy to perform well.
Exactly.
That's what I tell men. I'm like, most men relate to the idea of, I want to perform well in the bedroom for my partner, for my wife, for my, whoever I'm with. I want to perform well. What's really interesting is that as a man, a lot of our ego is wrapped up in our sexuality. a
Mm.
lot. Our psychological makeup and our sexual biological prowess, the amount of testosterone we have, the amount of sexual energy we have, are we self-controlled, are we disciplined, actually gives us a psychological makeup that also says, well, if I'm in control, if I'm in this control of myself, then it's no problem building that 6-figure and 7-figure
Mm.
training, coaching business. It's no problem. Why would it be a problem?
Mm.
It would only be a problem because the energy level is below the task. When the energy level is above the task or abundant to the task, then the task is no longer a problem. The task is just seen as, okay, great, I got to just execute that task. I got to get that done. With a lot of sexual energy, you get a lot of courage. With a lot of energy, you have a lot of courage. And so you'll take the courageous steps in developing the skills that maybe some of us avoid, like most of it, let's say in the business context or studies, right? You know, somebody who's studying, somebody who's growing a business. You need to develop some skills to be successful in that. You know, if you're growing a business, like I help many entrepreneurs grow their business, because the first thing is like get high in energy and then dovetail that energy with a purpose and skill development so that you're using all that energy in a positive way. Because if you don't, what's going to happen is your mind will then turn to pleasure-seeking activities. Well, I'll just go watch the porn. I'll just go smoke some weed. I'll just go do this. I'll just go do that. And that's when you end up diminishing your potential. And the world has taught us to do that. So it's important we come back to a really healthy way of approaching our sexuality. Outside the bedroom, your sexual potential, when harnessed, has tremendous amounts of potential.
It's actually spot on. It's literally what I was going through the last 12 months, and you summed it up beautifully. It's like whenever I was having like the hard day or the, you know, what you were talking about, I would go to those things and just, you know, it's I put it down to I wanted the gratification or the pleasure straight away. I didn't want to. It's like everyone in this modern day and age, in this modern society, are looking for the quickest way to get their gratification or their pleasure. There's no discipline, and waiting that 5-10 years for their business venture to start taking off. There's no discipline and no long-term gratification. Everyone's looking for the short term. That's how I see it.
100%. That's exactly and what many people are unaware of. But recent studies, some great TED Talks, you know, no fat things are all being talked about now more and more, because there's some undeniable studies, right? Modern science is backing up what the mystics and spiritualists back in the day said, which is that your sexual energy, your sexual nature is the actually linked to your hormonal health as well. So guys who are masturbating a lot, first of all, they have lower testosterone levels. With low testosterone levels, what it means is you have less masculine biological makeup running through your system. So your mind is going to actually be less masculine. And it's kind of when you hear that and you're thinking, what are you trying to say, man? You're trying to say I'm not a man? Is that what you're trying to say? And in a way, I'm saying that you're probably not as manly as you think you are. And that was like the pill that I had to swallow when I learned all this, was like, oh, because when I started learning about what is a man, what is the definition of masculinity? Like when we say masculinity, what are we talking about actually? And the definitions that I was given and the words that come up often are stable, self-controlled. The one definition that I like a lot is sense-controlled and sensitive. And what that means, sense-controlled means I am in control of my physical and psychological apparatus called the body mind. I can direct my body and mind where I want it to go. And I'm using my intelligence. So clearly I'm going to direct it into healthy choices. Illusion is making unhealthy choices under the disguise of pleasure. oh yeah, I'm going to jerk off to this porn, but it's an unhealthy habit. And what modern studies show is that excessive porn use actually diminishes the prefrontal cortex, gray brain matter actually diminishes in the brain, making you more compulsive. So next thing you know, after watching porn, and every time you ejaculate, prolactin is released into the system. Prolactin stifles testosterone growth and makes you tired. That's why you sleep after. Here's the cycle. You watch porn, you jerk off, you become more compulsive, and you're more tired and lethargic. So therefore, you don't have energy to fight the compulsions. Now you're into the bag of Doritos. Now you're rolling a joint. Now you're having a couple drinks. Now you're scrolling on 2 hours of social media, or you're scrolling on Netflix for 20 minutes and still can't decide what to watch because nothing is satisfying to you. Correct. Nothing appears great to you. Nothing appears awesome to you because you're so dulled out. And that's the harsh reality. And guess what? When you're dulled out, you're more passive. Now, here are the definitions and words that are related to feminine. Passive. They're opposite of masculine. Chaotic, so unstable. More more whimsical. Pleasure seeking. Women are actually more sexual than men. That's how it's supposed to be. But in this day and age, men are more sexual than women.
Yeah. Other way around. Which is,
yeah.
Yep.
It's upside down. People don't get that. That's upside down. That's not the order of things. So, that's masculinity and the patriarch. No, that's just nature. It's nature. It's what works. We all have masculine, feminine energy. So it has nothing to do with, like, let's say, equal rights, getting paid the same, a feminist issue like that. That we're talking about energy, and every person on the planet contains a certain amount of masculine and a certain amount of feminine energy. As men, we should be embracing and growing in our masculinity, which means ultimately growing in our strength of body, strength of mind, strengthening our values, strengthening our character, strengthening our financial situation, building a family, and strengthening that core. We are strength embodied, power embodied. But if we are passive and we're addicted, we're weak and passive, we're not strength, we're weak. Therefore, we fall into a more feminine energy. We're easily exploited, and we're actually taken out of the family core. Once the family core is taken out of, that's it, right? Women have to step into their masculine. It's a whole cycle of effect of what we're seeing now in today's society. There's a whole trigger effect that happens here. That's why this work in the message is so important. I'm telling you, pornography is the biggest weapon right now against masculinity and mankind. I think it's the biggest thing that's hurting people silently, and it seems like people are still willing to talk about it. More are, which is great. We need more and more and more podcasts like this, more channels, more shows, more people stepping up and talking openly about it.
Not just people, more men.
Yes, absolutely.
More young men.
Yes, and more young men, absolutely, to inspire a lot of other young men. And young men, you guys are the future. You're the future. You know, that's cliche and all that, but it's the truth. We're all we can ever really do is set up our future generations to be better.
Yes.
And that's not kids. That's just a responsibility that we all have. We do our best so that the next generation is set up better. And right now, the next generation is not set up to be better, set up to be weak, addicted, subdued. And ultimately, you guys are going to become, and we have the very, very close danger of becoming slaves to a very totalitarian styled systems that are being implemented. And it's the masculine. We need strong men to stand up and combat that.
I agree.
And that's family core. And family core actually starts with strong, stable men. Because if masculinity means stability, we need something stable around to build good families, good communities, ultimately good nations, good world.
But the people that rule us put porn here for a reason, though, didn't they? To actually demasculinize men, because they knew that the last 3 years, last 20 years, last 50 years couldn't take place if we're all strong and in our power. Because if we're all strong in our power, none of that shit would have happened.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. And that's why, like, what was interesting is I really saw that in my time in politics. So I would go around I would be speaking at rallies and speaking about things like the World Economic Forum, and their influence in the world, speaking about masculinity and pornography. And I was probably the only politician in the entire federal Canadian election time that he was even talking about these issues of pornography. I seen a Republican congressman in the U.S. made some statements about pornography, and I know Florida's governor really had a strong message for men of Florida, like step up. Like he was giving stats about fatherless homes, like what's going on. And I'm happy to see leaders actually start talking about this, and people in powerful positions, businessmen, politicians, actors, musicians. These are all circles of influence, and the more influencers speak openly and strongly about the detriment of pornography. And I'm not anti-sex or anything like this. I'm saying healthy sex. Let's get to healthy sex. Go back, in relationships, have healthy sex. Go meet someone. I don't know if this is true or not. It was a post, so I didn't take time to verify it. So excuse me if it's wrong, but I hope it's true. It said that Russia banned Pornhub. Do you know if that's true or not?
I think they did. I think that's true.
It in the comments.
Yeah, someone can post that. I think that's true.
Yeah, I hope it's true. And what the post thought was, it said Pornhub bans Russia bans Pornhub, tells people go meet someone in real life. And you know what? I think that's a smart move. I think that was really smart of the Russian leadership, right? Which, oh my God, that's like taboo to say something like, you can't say anything positive about Russia, at least here in the West, right? Like, Russia's the big bad boogeyman. But if it's true that Russia banned that, and I heard that about some other countries did that as well. You'll notice Eastern countries, which are still following traditional structures and values, they're not going along with all this pornography and all of this like kind of over sexualized thing. And again, it's not anti-sex, it's actually positive sex. Go have great sex, get in a relationship, care about someone, love someone, be a great lover, build a family. Don't just have great sex, have a great life. Don't make your life just about sex. If you make your whole life about sex, you will suffer.
No, I definitely did.
So what's that?
That was my early 20s. You just summed up my early 20s. I did just that, and I was suffering, mate. I really was. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a type of suffering to always be hankering about sex and thinking about sex and having sex. Sitting in you're supposed to be you're supposed to be going. You're so much more than that, right? Like you're so much more getting laid. I bet you've got ideas about a business that you're going to build, or maybe some art or an athleticism, or just discovering who you are. Maybe you don't have that. Maybe you're thinking, I don't know what my skills are. Great. So you go on this massive discovery phase. I promise you this, whether you know what you want to do or don't know what you want to do, the starting point is the same. Get control of your energies. And the way that I teach that, and there's many ways to do it, but the way that I specifically teach that is through ancient meditative practices that I learned from my teachers and being part of different spiritual groups and different spiritual cultures and exploring the world of mysticism and how it was brought out. Because what was really interesting is they have practices, meditation tools. So it's a holistic way of dealing. And that's the way that worked the best for me. I tried to white knuckle, Same. Yeah, I tried to white knuckle it too.
Yeah.
Man, that lasts maybe 2-3 weeks if you're powerful. If you got strong willpower, maybe a couple months, maybe 6 months if you're really, really, really strong.
Yeah.
For most guys, you have to be real with yourself. And you say, man, I've been too compulsive. I've been drinking smoking. Sometimes I'm smoking and jerking all at the same time, right? You know, that, right? Got the and you know, I think about that and I laugh because I think about like how ridiculous that looks now.
Yeah.
Like actually being excited, how much time breaking the weed up, rolling it, having this whole ritual, taking a fucking who knows. Oh, sorry, I'm sorry if I swear.
Nah, go for it, mate. We're no filter.
Oh, I never know. So I try not to swear too much, anyways,
Yeah.
overall, but out for sure.
That's
But
fine.
yeah, just rolling that. Who knows how long you've been sitting there trying to find the perfect video, right? The right compilation.
He's fucking spot on.
Whatever, you know, and then you're like, oh shit, this is the one. So you like that joint up, you press play, all that shit probably lasts not even 3 minutes. You know what I mean?
30 seconds,
then,
brother.
Yeah, but then you're sitting there, you got to clean yourself up. You know, you got to do the clean game. You got to clean yourself up. Now you got to eat something because you're tired or you're whatever. You can't focus. You think about what are you going to produce? So ask yourself, why is pornography being pushed so hard on society? Because that's what it produces. You know what's interesting? Militaries know this and understand this.
Absolutely.
Many militaries, so I'm not taking sides. All militaries now use this as a tactic because they've all learned it. This is information that they understand. In World War II, the United States troops, before attacking Nazi troops, would drop pamphlets of pornography and naked women on the troops. So the men would either be distracted or depleted or lack the testosterone, the vitality to be in the fighting spirit. This is what Mike Tyson understood when he's like, I'm going to go celibate to become heavyweight champ. And he went 5 years celibacy and became heavyweight champ at such a young age. And he's a tank already. So you could just imagine he was like, that's why he's a beast in the ring. Muhammad Ali, they said, what makes you champion? He says, it's my ability to judge women. And I'm a pretty boy, so it's hard for me, right? You know, I'm like, had that swag. So he said, it's because I go to bed at 9:30 or 9 o'clock and I dodge women. He says, I train like everybody else trains, but I have a hunger in me. And that's why he had so much swag and so much, he was full of sexual energy. He wasn't depleted of his energy.
Yeah.
Great time, right? So all these guys understood this. So the U.S. troops would drop pamphlets to weaken their prowess.
Wow.
David, world heavyweight champion, his routine right before a fight, 6 weeks, no sex, no masturbation. When they asked him, why do you do this? Why do you have this ritual? He said, in a fight, who's going to win, a hungry cat or a full cat? Right? And he's like, the hunger. You see, nature wants you to get laid. Nature doesn't want you sitting in front of a screen jerking off. Nature wants you to become powerful and take care and provide and be responsible, because that's actually what being a man means. And when you're a man, only after you step up in that energy and develop in that energy, you got to earn it. Then women find you very attractive. And women find you attractive. Other men are attracted to you, not necessarily in a sexual way, but in just a way of leadership. This is a strong man. This is the type of man I want to learn from. This is the type of man I want to hang around. I'm going to buy his product. I'm going to buy his service. This is why men who step up in their masculine make more money, because people respect them, because it's coming off their conviction, their energy, their power. But you have to step up in that. And as men, you know, in the ancient culture, so I'll give you another military example, and then I'll share something about what ancient cultures used to do that I want to revitalize in this modern culture, because we don't do it anymore. But another military example, I believe, was the Israeli military, I think, was taking over a Palestinian. I don't want to make this political about which one's territories first. It don't matter. One military to another group of people, they locked down a portion. See if this sounds familiar to you. They put everybody on lockdown in a portion of the neighborhood, an enemy neighborhood. Then they took over the broadcasting stations, So they controlled the messaging.
Oh, of course.
And they made a few channels free pornography 24/7.
Oh, yeah, that sounds very familiar. Yeah.
Sounds familiar. And that's how they wanted to weaken. That was their plan, to slowly weaken the neighborhood. So you could see what we're in as a psychological warfare.
Yes.
That's what's happening right now. And so you have to train yourself for war, but that doesn't necessarily mean guns. But it definitely means, it already means strong mind. And that's actually, I don't think come to guns. If enough of us as men step up as men, it won't come to guns, because we'll put an end to it. We'll stop it. We'll take on positions of leadership. We'll run for office. We don't have to run for office. We'll change the culture, because we'll literally be changing.
Correct.
We'll be family life. It happens in the four walls. What's going on in your household is the most important thing in the world. And until we get back to that value, we're lost. We're lost.
Yeah, spot on.
Yeah, we're not protecting our families anymore. No. We're not leading our packs. We're not, No, and that's just getting kind of getting back to some basics.
Yeah.
And that's the ancient cultures, they had more of that. So they were more in tune with this. For instance, men in ancient cultures from around the world would have certain rites of passage, right? Like maybe at 16, you got to go spend, you got to go on your spirit quest or spirit walk.
Yep.
You got to go and hunt that boar or something like that.
Go out in the forest, and we'll see you in a few weeks.
Yeah. You got to build that hut and that. And food, and learn to forage and make decisions. See, that was part of the rituals and the culture. And that's how ancient cultures developed their men into strong men, and they had strong families and leadership, and there was stronger values because men were strong.
But if that man came back to the tribe as weak, that weakened the tribe as well. So it was important that rite of passage was taken. They've blocked that rite of passage for the last 100 years, I reckon, because not many men out there are taking that rite of passage anymore, because things are easy. The porn's easy, the TV's easy, the alcohol's easy, the smoking, the vaping, all that shit's easy. No one's taking the hard path anymore.
I tell people, you want to smoke because you're meant to be high. You want to watch porn because you're meant to have sex. You want to eat good food because you're meant to go and get that good food. The problem is food now comes to your door through DoorDash or some, and you don't have, or that's an app here in North America.
Yeah,
you guys have.
We do have it. Uber Eats too.
Yeah, Uber Eats. That's how it comes to you. The sex now comes to you in the form of a screen. The high from having to go face the elements and get strong. So therefore all your hormones are pumping through, and you're breathing in the fresh air and the oxygen, and your feet are bare on the ground, and you're in the dirt, and you're high off the nutrients and the sun and the wind and the elements of life. Because that's all of that's what you try. You want to get high. You're supposed to be high. You're supposed to be on cloud 9, man. You're supposed to be rocking life as a man.
Yes.
But if you're not, because you took the easy way to get that high, the unnatural way, and they're profiting off you. That's how they're controlling you.
Correct.
They want you doing that because it fuels, because it controls your decision making. That's power. Power means they want to control your decision. When I say who are they? Those who seek ultimate power in this world. And there are people who seek ultimate power. They believe their ideology is superior. Right? The World Economic Forum, in my opinion, is a very dangerous ideology being born in that place, where this idea that the masses are a burden and people need to stop having babies and depopulation and all these things. These are serious things that are being discussed at the highest levels. And unless we wake up to this and go, wait a sec, hold on. And then ask yourself the most important question. Don't be like, I'm going to go fight this. I mean, fight it, but not, see, that's what I did politics. I was in politics for 3 years trying to fight what's going on. And here's what I learned. We ain't going to beat it by fighting the system. We're going to beat it by putting all of our energy and saying, by giving it no attention, by putting all of our energy and attention into building new belief systems that are accommodating and revolutionary for this modern world. And that's why I got out of politics and I'm now doing this work, because they're the same work, it's the same mission, but I shifted my approach because as I was out at all these rallies, first of all, what was really interesting is I was at rallies and 80% of the rallies were women.
Yes, they were, even down here too.
Yeah, so I'd say, where's your husband? Where's your husband? He's at home. Now he believes, but he doesn't want to lose his job.
Yeah, fuck.
Or no. Well, he's not really sure, or he's not really sure where he stands. And I said, but it doesn't matter. You're here. Where's he?
Yep.
You mean your wife go to a political rally that sometimes got quite heated by herself, and she's there front line protecting her kids, chained up, like you ain't touching, but no jab, and like
yeah, it was the same here too. I couldn't believe it.
Why is this row? We linked arms one time with the police, and I said, why I got a bunch of and this is nothing to women. This is not. I'm not saying this bad. Hey, all power to these women. I'm glad. I was happy, honored to chain arms with them because they were out there protecting what they believed was right for their children and for themselves. My only question was, why weren't there more men? Where were the men? And there came the bigger problem. And I saw this in myself. So I'm not calling nobody else out. I'm calling myself out. Oh, I get it. Because when you're smoking and you're drinking and you're addicted and you're jerking off and your priorities are out of whack and you're lazy and you're spending 3 hours playing video games instead of, getting shit done around the house and on the land and growing your own food and working out and growing as an organism growing,
It's sad. It's sad, isn't it?
You're not going to be fighting for what you believe is right. You don't even know you probably don't even know what you believe is right. If you're too down that rap, you're so apathetic that you don't even know what you believe in. I don't even care if you believe what I believe. I just care that you believe in something and that it's filling you up with vibrancy so that you can be an active member of society and take your role as a man, as a leader, and lead your family and household for us all, because it affects us all. It affects you and your family. When every time you put Doritos, that was my vice, Doritos and Joe Louis. I don't know if you guys know. Do you guys have Joe Louis?
No, we don't have Joe Louis, but we have Doritos down here.
You guys got Doritos, yeah. Smoke a joint.
Yeah.
Cool Doritos. Pass it.
Yeah.
Gut get bigger.
Yeah. We got that down here.
Jerking off more compulsive, making mistakes, with finances, with business. It's a slippery slope. So when you find yourself in a place where you're like, this porn thing's got me, you gotta just admit it.
That's it.
And got to admit it. You got to just say, yo, this porn thing's got me. I don't want it to have me no more. So I'm going to go get some help. And whether you come and, work with one of us or somebody, you find something that resonates, find something, do something, but deal with it. Deal with it.
Ask for help too. As you said, like a lot of men out there, they're under the program of it's weak to ask for help. It's actually a sign of strength and courage to ask for help.
Okay, go back to how the ancient people used to live. And I say ancient people because almost every ancient culture all around the world followed very similar things. So you can see the principles are the same, even though the expression might be different, right? You know, the men would go out together. Who do you think you were learning from? Other men.
Exactly.
You were learning from the wise men of the tribe on philosophy and intellectual pursuit. You were learning from the best warriors on defense and fighting. You were learning from the artists about art and culture. You were learning from, the alchemist about lovemaking and transmutation, right? Like, what I do as a sexual alchemist back then was just an occupation, was just, you go to the love doctor to, right, to help you out, right? It's like today's world, they've made everything that's natural and holistic seem unnatural.
Correct.
And everything unnatural seem normal. Like it's normal, like it's somehow unnatural to eat almonds when you have a headache. Nobody thinks of that, even though almonds, I think it's like 13, 14, 15 almonds will give you the same equivalent to Advil as far as your ability to stop your headache. Nobody thinks about that. We just think pop an Advil. Big Pharma has got us like locked and brainwashed, thinking that the nature is somehow dangerous and out to get. They've made they made the natural world a scary place when you are part and parcel of the natural world. You are the natural world. And if you're not living natural lifestyles, which in this day and age, at a natural, healthy sexual expression, if you're down the porn rabbit hole and such, if you're not living a natural and more natural lifestyle, you're going to have more unfulfillment, more disease, more problems, bodily level, mental level. And mental level, by the way, is where you create your money, where you create your status, where you create that all is at the mental level. So a strong mind creates money. A strong mind creates status. A strong mind creates attraction. It comes from the mind. The body is the workhorse, the engine. It's going to drive you towards those results. If those two things are depleted of its energy and full of toxins, what do you think you're going to produce? Well, what could you produce? What if you were looking at a field full of animals, and I said to you, pick one animal here to work your land. So you're going to be like, great, I'm going to pick the animal that's going to bring the most value to me. Which kind of animal are you going to pick? Which one will you be attracted to?
You asking me?
No. I'm just putting it out there.
Yeah.
But the answer is a healthy one.
Yes.
The healthiest one. You're going to look for the one with the most vibrancy. So when people say, how does retaining your energy help you become more attractive? I say, because you're full of vibrancy. You're full of charisma. You're full of passion. You're healthy. And healthy is sexy. Healthy is attractive. A buddy of mine, he's in his 60s. We went on a hike. This guy's ripped, right? He does something called rucking, where he puts a couple like weights, military style weights and backpack on, and just goes for long treks. It's like a military practice, rucking. And anyways, we were doing a ruck and we were finishing up, and I said to him, and again, he's in his 60s. I said, yo, man, I said, you're in your 60s. You still like to, like, is your drive still the same as like when you were in your 20s and 30s? You still want to have sex a lot. He's got 6 kids, All right. He said, oh yeah. He says, "Oh no, I'm still good to go. I'm firing on all still." And then he said something to me that, really stuck with me. He said, "Sex is for the healthy." He said, "Look at me, I'm healthy, I'm strong." And he's fit, ripped, he's not carrying body fat. He's in his 60s, but he's got energy as a 30-year-old easily. 20. He says, "I'm fit, I'm healthy." He says, "Sex is for the healthy." He says, "That's just biology." He says, nature will always push the healthiest cells to reproduce. Nature will always make the healthiest, the most attractive, because that gives nature the best opportunity to carry the species forward. That's why a man's job, at first and foremost, your number one job in this world is actually to take care of your health. And that means not just looking at health as what you eat, but absolutely what you eat. It starts with what you eat, but also expand that definition of health. Mental health is part of that. Also, clarity of mind. I got brain fog, I got no ideas. If you're looking at something and ideas aren't flooding into your mind, that's a sign that you're not firing on all cylinders. A healthy man's going to look at something, a problem, boom, he's going to start firing off, problem solving. Or he's going to be like, shit, I don't know. Call somebody who knows. He's going to take some action. So even if you don't know, you're going to be wise enough, man enough to ask for help and say, I don't know. I have a 3-unit building that I live in.
Yep.
And I'm not renovating it because I don't know how to do renovations. I coach and train people. That's what I do. I do well. I get paid well to do it. I take that money and I hire this contractor who comes here and is renovating the building because I know what I'm good at and I know where are my skill sets and I know where I'm most valuable. And I'm not like the guy who's like going and hammering drywall up and that kind of stuff. I'll do some of that stuff and I act as the laborer. So I hold it up and, pay the non-skilled laborer. And if I like doing that or too, it's good to move like that and just especially like I work on the computer. I'm on Zoom calls all day. I'm on coaching calls all day. I'm in the content creation space, the online marketing space, all that kind of good stuff. So it's even more important that it's us that's working on computers all day, that we are purposefully and consciously creating time to work with our bodies as well. Farming, working out at the gym, just going for walks, long walks, whatever it is. So anyways, point is that sex is for the healthy. Expand our definition of health, men. It's body. It's what you eat. It's what you put into your mind. If you're putting in a bunch of porn in your mind all day long, you're distorting your idea of sex anyways. You're distorting your own conception of how to approach women. That's why so many men have social anxiety about women.
Yes.
Because they've taken away the need to go and actually walk up to. When I was in high school, I used to walk up to girls on my own to test my nerves, try my ability to like talk to them and get a number. And sometimes I'd get that number and sometimes I'd get rejected. And you know what? Every time, no matter what happened, I came out stronger, because even when I got rejected, I was like, yeah, because I got all that high, all that adrenaline, all that rush from pursuing, because we're hunters.
We are.
We pursue. It shouldn't just be coming to you as men. Women are attractors like that. Women, they're the receivers. They receive the seed and bring it to life. They're the subconscious mind. They actually are manifestations of the masculine subconscious mind. So what we have now is, because we have, as men, because we're weaker, we have a whole generation of women that hate men.
Yes.
We have a generation of women who think men are useless because they haven't seen strong, useful men, most likely in their life, I assume. It's also now just a political trend, so you can just jump on the bandwagon for extra likes. So that's a problem now. Now it's just, now Beyonce bandwagon because, it makes Beyonce woke and cool.
Yeah.
But we don't know that, she knows anything about anything.
No.
But the point is that we have a whole generation of women too that don't really trust men. And in a way, as men, we just need to take 100% responsibility. I think women need to take responsibility in their way, play too. But whether they do or not, it's more important that it's actually almost irrelevant if they do or not, because as we take more responsibility, women will naturally be able to get back into their feminine, and you'll see that they will yearn for more stability. They will want a man who's stable. If a woman is the one who is bringing home the money, plus taking care of the kids, plus keeping the house clean, plus, making the schedule for what she's doing with the kids, plus she's expected to be sexy and, get her nails done and look good when you get home. It's bullshit, man. Like, you've totally burdened your woman. Your woman is a burdened woman. So she's going to be in her masculine because the burden should be on your shoulders. You're built for strength. You're built for growth. You're built for challenge. And when there's strong population of men, that alpha male character, alpha male doesn't mean you're going beating up other men or you're bullying. That's the opposite of an alpha male. An alpha male is a provider. Think of an alpha male, the lion of a pack. He's strong, he's stable. And when another alpha male comes, guess who steps up to fight? Right? The king. That's our jobs, is to protect, to provide, to produce. If your wife, if your woman is doing all that, and then it's still expected to be a woman, then it's still expected to have enough energy to jump all over you at the end of the night. It ain't gonna happen. That's why we have so many passionless relationships. And because of that, men go to porn because they're like, well, my wife ain't interested. No, it's not that your wife's not interested. It's that your wife is. It's not that your wife's not interested. It's that your wife, while she loves you, she's not attracted to you sexually.
Correct.
Because women are not like men. We just think about sex and we're turned on. Good to go. I thought about it. Let's do it. Right? We're like fire, quick to ignite. Good. I'm ready to go. Women, like water, you need to boil. And then once they're boiling, though, they'll last long and they'll keep boiling and they're turned on. When you're in your masculine, you're like hot, you're fire, but you're a harnessed fire, you're controlled. And what happens when you put fire next to water? It boils. She gets turned on. Attraction is biological. So if you are truly in your masculine, women will just be turned on by you just by your presence. You won't have to say nothing. No pick-up lines needed, nothing. Biology, they will sense subconsciously. Biology, this is a control man. This guy's full of energy, which means he's potent, which means he can give me a kid. He's full of energy. He's stable. He ain't drunk. Which means if I have sex with him and I get pregnant, he'll provide for me and that kid. This all comes down to our basic instinct and wiring. So if you're drunk, if you're high, if you're depleted of your energy through pornography, if you've got low libido, she don't sense that from you. So she loves you because society has told her you're a good girl if you love him, stay with him. But her sexual prowess is not turned on because that's not what she's looking for. It's not what nature has designed her to look for. She wants an alpha male. She wants a strong man. That's why 20% of men get laid and 80% watch porn. So you have to decide which category do I want to be in. And the way you get into the 20% is you have to earn your way. You're not entitled to it. You have to earn your way, which means you have to work for it. that means leveling up, sense controlled. And then sensitive means I'm sensitive to the needs of the people around me. I provide for them. I protect for them. I establish good rituals and routines and boundaries. I step up when it needs to be, when things need to be done. That's sensitive. Sensitive doesn't mean sensitive like a woman, like, oh, poor, like nurturing. That's a feminine form of sensitivity, which you can develop as well as you develop your own maturity and your own loving nature. Then the feminine in you also shines through, and that's fine. Feminine doesn't mean you're girly or you're passive. Feminine means you're nurturing. You have a heart. You're empathetic. You're sensitive. You could tell, like, oh man, my woman needs me just to listen right now, and you can provide that for her because you're full in yourself. So you're not looking to exploit her for any reason. And then after she's done, she's gonna be like, this guy just turns me on. If you're in your masculine, you don't have to ask for sex. She'll pursue you.
Yep.
And then you don't have pornography in your life. And you don't need anything because you have a strong bond with your natural expression of sexuality, which then therefore you've got now time and energy and focus to go build your business and spend time with your kids and create a legacy and help the community and make sure tyrants don't take over your family core.
Simple.
It's a simple solution.
It is
simple,
yeah.
but not easy. It is simple.
It's
not easy.
Right.
Fuck, it's not easy.
No. But it's actually, you're right. The easy way would be doing the opposite of that. Like, true, man.
They're just going along with it.
Yeah.
Porn is fine. It's healthy. I need to jerk off 21 times a month so I don't get prostate cancer.
Exactly. They're watching the TV. They're reading the news. They're doing all that bullshit and learning all this crap. It's actually the opposite of what's actually true. That's why it's there.
Get off. That is the matrix right there. That is get unplug from that. Protect yourself on social media. I use social media. I love social media. I got no problems with social media because it's the relationship you have with it.
Correct.
You know what's not on? Yeah. There's no pornography on my social media. There's no news on my social media. There's no mainstream bullshit on my social media because that's propaganda.
Correct.
What's on my social media? Other men who are developing themselves and they're strong. I use my social media as a tool to connect with other guys, to train my mind, to sell my products and services, to make an impact in the world. And then when I'm not working, I'm practicing my meditations, my practices. I'm with Sarah, my wife. I'm with my family. I'm, renovating the building. I'm pursuing my life vision, my holistic life vision. So part of it is part of it's making money, but my life vision is much more than just building a business. It's about leaving a long-standing legacy, transforming the globe, having a cultural revolution when it comes to sex. And this is my goal is to replace the mainstream narrative to sexual alchemy, where it's like, of course I practice sexual alchemy. Of course I don't watch porn. I wouldn't do that. I have amazing sex with my woman or my or if whatever, right? Like however you know.
Well, I think you back? I think you just froze, brother. Ooh, haven't had this happen before. You there, mate? I think you're freezing on me, mate. Oh. Oh. You're back.
Yeah, back live in action. I could hear you for some of the time there, but it froze up there.
Yeah. Was it me or you? Because you froze up too.
Oh, and you froze up on my end. So maybe just as I said, I don't know if you caught it, but I said too much energy going on here. We're clogging up the.
There's a bit going on here.
Shutting down. They're like, we've got an energy surge.
Yeah, two masculine men standing in their power, having a conversation about things that against the mainstream narrative of sex, eh?
Yeah, totally. So that's what we're looking to do, is create a sexual revolution.
I love it.
These taboo practices of alchemy that were kind of, done in secret, and people knew about it, but they didn't want to share it because it had tremendous power. They wanted to keep that knowledge for themselves. I say now we share it publicly, we share it openly, because the world needs it. Because right now we need an alternative to porn culture.
We do.
And I understand and get that most men are not going to become monks and priests and give up sex. Most 99% of men have no interest in that, but they are interested in being the best versions of themselves. Almost 100% of men are interested in being the best versions of themselves. So understanding how our sexual energy and how becoming the best version of ourselves and becoming the leaders and the powerful men, the powerhouse men that we're designed to be, that everybody should be,
I agree,
bouncing on that and understanding the importance and value of that, how that shifts your entire life.
Yeah, and it starts in school, and that school system's done. My dream's to build a bush school, mate, that has all this in it. Kids are taught the right things. They're taught the spiritual practices. They're taught the right form of sex from the right age. They're learning this shit too young, I feel. Everything's sexualized. That's why all the males are watching porn at 10 years old. All this is sexualized. The school I have in my dream vision is all of that, mate. Like the children need this stuff, and they need the real inner knowings and how to connect to that. That's what they need.
100%, man. So I Nakula Das Training Grounds, which is the training school that I put together, just basically where I'm teaching the things that I've learned as a I've been in the coaching business for close to a decade. I've been practicing transmutation for the last 5 years. I launched the Become a Sexual Alchemist training in the Nakula Das Training Grounds, and in the last 2 years, we've trained through all of our different programs and events just over 2,000 men all around the world, sexual alchemy practices, and we're looking to expand and take that to 2 million men and 20 million men and 200 million men, because even at 200 million men in a world of 8 billion now, it's nothing. It's actually nothing. So significance of us being able to at least hit a few million men in my lifetime is important. And then we have to build it in such a way. And I hope to supply curriculums. I'm supplying the training to individual men right now, but I would love to supply that curriculum to schools like yours all over the world, where they could take this specific training. Because my expertise isn't in a whole school system, but specifically in sexual alchemy and sex transmutation and leadership and sales development. So coaching now, once you've got your sex transmutation practice down, you've got your sexual alchemy practice down, most men want to take that. And another way out of the matrix is entrepreneurship.
Yes.
So the first step out of the matrix is getting the vices that the matrixes are presenting to you, that's controlling you. You have to unwind and unravel yourself from those vices. Get back into natural living. Then you're going to have all this energy. You're going to have all this drive and this motivation. If you really want a next level of freedom, then you have to make your own or create your own income. Money in itself is not bad, and I'm not against money or the money system. I don't like the fiat system, which we're in, the current debt system. I would prefer like gold standard.
Yep.
In which it's real value, so I can't go print it and not have it. I can't just go make it out of thin air.
Yeah.
A real money system, a natural money system is going to be something that the earth produces, where no particular one man has control over its production. We find it, we mine it,
Correct.
So now there is some argument against at least loans, to have loans to get things started, but without interest. The Islamic folks and nations actually do this. A lot of people don't realize that they have loans, but without interest.
Yeah. Because
it's against their laws to put people in that type of debt, because that's wrong.
It is wrong.
That's slavery, but that's debt slavery, and that's what we have now. And
And it's not just one particular race or one particular section. It's everybody. There is just a simple power class. There's a class of people that have enslaved the world into a debt system. Almost everybody's in debt.
Yep.
So the way out of debt is to grow a business. And now is the best time in history to grow a business because of online methods. You can start a business for next to nothing. You can learn some skills. A business is about providing value. So you learn some skills, or you learn a tool or technique that makes a difference in someone's life. And now you have a business, and you can also take that, maybe grow your own food, farming. There's so many ways to create income. But the point is, after you have your vices under control and you're starting to elevate above those, you're going to need to put your energy into the next level of freedom, which is ultimately getting you out of
the matrix,
debt, and out of the matrix, the financial system, becoming a surplus, having a surplus. If people didn't have debt and we created surpluses of cash, we could build our own schools.
Yeah, that's what I want to do.
Yeah, we can build our own infrastructures. We can build our own systems. The problem is the governments, the current corporal industrial government systems that are all one. You have to understand, corporation and governments, they're one thing now. That's fascism. That's what we live in a fascist society, where that's why we're moving closer and closer to a dangerous totalitarian society, because we're talking about just a few companies. We're talking about just a few people running the show, and we're all playing in their game, but their game is draining us. Their game is a godless game.
Correct. It's evil.
Their game has no consideration for your well-being. If not, they would supply good food for everyone. They would be encouraging everybody to grow your own food and supply yourself with an abundance of food that nature supplies for you. There's no one person that should be starving on this planet with the amount of food that this planet produces.
I agree.
Only because we're into industrialized farming do we have that.
Yep. Spot on. That was an awesome chat, mate. We'll probably going for close to an hour and a half. Been bloody awesome.
Shut up.
Nah, you're right, mate. It's just unreal. I often ask my guests towards the end if all of that resonated with them, and what would be your piece of advice to those people that are currently stuck to just take that first step? We might have already covered it, but we'll just summarize that. Just what would be your advice to those people that are stuck to take their first step? What would be your advice to those people?
My advice is that, first of all, if you feel stuck, if you know you're stuck, admit that you're stuck. Because when you admit stuck, then you can take the next step. You can look at it. You can deal with it. Only until you open up your bills can you pay your bills. So don't be a pussy and open up your bills, basically. Right? Open up the fact that you're stuck. That's a bill. That's a tax. That's an energetic tax. Okay? Yeah. You got to get taxes in your life. So open up the bill, admit that you're stuck. Then now you're looking at it. Now you have to figure out a way. How am I going to pay this bill? How am I going to get myself out of this tax? How am I going to get myself unstuck? If you don't have a way, if something doesn't pop up, if you're like, I don't know, admit you don't know, humble yourself, book a call with me, and I will show you my process to helping you get unstuck. If it resonates, we work together. If it doesn't resonate, which it might not be a right fit. I'm not for everybody. That's okay. But I am for certain people. And if you feel like, yeah, this is a right fit, we move to the next step. We get you unstuck. We take care of your sexual energy first. And then you go on to the leadership development and we grow a business. If you want to do that, if that makes sense. If that doesn't resonate, or you book a call with me and it doesn't resonate, and you're like, no, this is not what I'm looking for. Perfect. Every no leads to a future yes. So either way, you'll get value. You'll move on. You'll find the person and the system and the process to help you get unstuck that resonates. And then you'll say yes to them, or you'll say yes to that, and you'll move forward. Point is, you don't get unstuck by staying still. You get unstuck by taking action, and the bolder and quicker and faster you take action, the quicker the results come, the bolder the results come, the more strong they come, because it's going to respond to your desire to get unstuck. and you show desire by amount of action and efficiency that you have throughout your day.
That's awesome. What a way to finish. And if you're also stuck, you can also see me as well. I've got, I work with your subconscious, and I help with all that sort of stuff too. So, yeah, if any of that resonates with any of you out there, book a call with Nak, book a call with me. Anyone, there's heaps of people doing this work each and every day. Find what resonates with you. What a way to finish, mate. Thank you for coming on today. That was awesome.
Thanks.
I'm so glad Robin shared one of your posts and I reached out. That was more than I thought I'd get out of you. That was so good, mate. Thank you so much for that. To all listeners out there, I'm going to get Nakula back on, I reckon, in the next few months, and we can do this again. That was awesome. I've got no words now. Have an awesome day to those out there that listen. Thank you for listening, and I'll get Nakula back on real soon. So thank you.